Hello, I'm Dr. Craig Stern of Pharma Pharmaceutical Consultants. We've been using time and trying to give you small snippets of information in education. We have no particular endorsements or otherwise. This is purely an issue where we feel that we have to help the industry in giving information and educating people so that we have a very robust industry that can talk about different topics and can bring a lot of information to the table so that we have the industry improves, our benefits improve, our contracts improve, etc. One of the most contentious areas in pharmacy benefits has been and continues to be rebates. The rebate issue is common, like you have coupons in supermarkets, and while you get rebates or you get discounts for buying a lot of different product or a volume of different product. So rebates are not new. They're very common in industry. They're very common in retail settings, etc. In pharmacy benefits, the rebates were originally supposed to go to doctors, but in fact never made it to the doctors. And so health plans were expecting to get rebates to offset their cost of goods sold or their overall spend. Pharmacy benefit managers saw this as an opportunity to gain revenue. Third-party administrators identified it. Multiple groups across the entire industry were able to find some ways in order to collect rebates. However, the manufacturers realized that they were also doing things to move market share to get more sales, and they didn't want to pay rebates on top of what they were already doing. So in effect, there were really two kinds of rebates. One was what's known as an access rebate that identifies the drug is on the formulary, and as a result of that, people have access to it, and they can receive a benefit by having a particular drug on the formulary. Another one was an incentive rebate that was paid if people could move market share from one level to the next, usually from a national market share level to a higher market share level, where they could achieve more sales from the manufacturer, and as a result of that, we're willing to pay more rebates to a health plan or a self-insured employer or a union or otherwise in order to have the drug on the formulary, but also to give it a preferred status with lower copays or things like that. The question was, and the bigger issue was not that rebates were paid, but rather how did you tell whether you were getting the correct rebate or that you were actually getting some benefit out of it? In effect, the manufacturer was paying a rebate. The health plan or self-insured employer, whoever the purchaser was supposed to receive the rebate. But how did they know? They would know based on the fact that so many units that they paid for should pay so many units in rebates. And anyone who was in the middle, whether it was the pharmacy benefit manager, a third-party administrator, or whomever, were in effect their accounts receivable functionary, and they were collecting this money, and that there should be some amount based on the number of units that were purchased by the purchaser that would go to the manufacturer. The manufacturer would pay rebates based on that. Those reports would be paid to the intermediary, the PBM, the third-party administrator, the health plan, whomever, and then that would be paid finally to the eventual purchaser. However, it isn't quite that simple, and money doesn't tend to flow in a basic cost accounting or cash flow basis that most CFOs would expect. So as a result of that, there has been a question about transparency and whether they could tell and whether they could follow the cash flow. I've certainly written about it, and there are a lot of other articles that have been written about rebates. But at the end of the day, the real problem is how do you know that you got the right amount? And in any fashion that you're doing, there has to be complete transparency for it. The federal government has asked for it, the state governments have asked for it, individual purchasers have asked for it. That's the process. There are rules to it, there are processes to it, there's a lot of agitation in between each of the different stakeholders because many of each of the different stakeholders receives some part of it, and as a result of that, everybody wants a piece of the pie. Not a simple process. Someday we'll talk about how you go about doing that. If you're ever interested, feel free to contact us and we'll send you a copy of some of our articles so that you can see how it should be done. Have an outstanding day. I look forward to speaking with you again.